just talking about our next meal. We were thinking about crab cakes and maybe filet wrapped in bacon. That was Jay's idea. So perhaps that'll be our winter gourmet night. Thank you very much for tonight. And we're going to break over there right now. So thank you very much.
Good evening. Welcome to the first gourmet evening, Fall Sports Awards Banquet. The theme, I guess, for this evening is going to be It's a First. It's the first time a lot of you are experiencing a gourmet night. It's the first time that I'm leading the gourmet night. It's the first time we had a lot of first-time coaches, and then it's the first time a lot of you will receive a letter, and hopefully not the last. There are 16 first-time letter winners, and that was just awesome to see. And that's something I'm so glad Grand River Academy provides a lot of students. Some of you know that maybe our talents aren't the greatest in a public school. I know firsthand. I only lettered in tennis, and that was the only sport I lettered in. I was very fearful of trying out for basketball or football or baseball because I didn't think I was good enough. Tennis was the only sport I was able to letter in. And the fact that all of you have the opportunity to show and display your talents in any of your sports. And it's so wonderful to have our no-cut policy. Before I hand it over to Mr. Sullivan, I just wanted to talk about our coaches. All four of them were first-year coaches, and with the exception of Kroll, three of them were first year at the academy. And to balance first-year teaching, plus a sport, plus dorm duties, is a lot of work. And I think that you know how much work it is, if you sometimes make it a little more work than it needs to be. This is also the first time that we had Athlete of the Week awards. And I just wanted to real quickly re-recognize those Athletes of the Week that we had mentioned at the beginning of the year. Eric Laveau, Austin Apt, Teddy Lewis, the entire golf team, and Liam Egan. All of you dedicated your time and displayed your talents, and I'm very, very thankful for that. I just want to give quick special recognition to the coaches. Mr. Kroll, who dedicated a lot of his time. He had to follow in some very large footsteps with Mr. Hart's, but he was able to guide the golf team into one of the best records our school has ever seen, with an 8-2 record. Mr. Sullivan, if you don't know about Mr. Sullivan, he ran in the Boston Marathon. And I mean, that's running 26.2 miles is amazing to me, just as it is. And to give you an idea what 26 miles is you're running well past Mentor. So if you think about driving to the Mentor Mall and how it takes a half hour just to drive to the Mentor Mall, imagine running to Euclid, which is about 10 miles farther. And the man ran it. And there's a lot of adversity. If you don't know, the Boston Marathon was the bombing this year. Mr. Sullivan was right behind the bombing. Mr. Lum, he came in very enthusiastic to be the coach of soccer, and I think he quickly learned that it takes a lot of energy and a lot of encouragement, a lot of positive emotions to be the coach. And the same goes with Mr. Escamilla. The time and dedication that he put forth, handling the soccer team, being patient, certainly will not go unnoticed, so I really thank you for your efforts. So our first coach and first presentation of the evening will be Mr. Sullivan and the cross-country team.
So, like Mr. Sharping just said, I want to thank Grand River, I want to thank Mr. Sharping for giving me the chance to coach cross-country. It was an adventure, it was a lot of fun. It was something that I really enjoyed, instilling a passion of mine towards students. I didn't start running until I was in college, so I was excited to enable students to start running at a high school level and maybe continue that. It's a lifelong sport and passion of mine, and I hope that even if you just ran one race this year, that you got something out of it, or one practice or something, that you will continue to do it. Okay. So this year, the cross-country team sort of hit the ground running, literally and figuratively. After the first practice, I had guys on the ground. We could hardly run a quarter of a mile, a half a mile. Taha's laughing right now because he knows I'm talking about him. But the biggest thing is we improved throughout the whole year. And the first adversity, or the first thing that we faced, was we had our first cross-country meet 3 days into our season. So getting guys straight off of the bus, straight off of the airplane, first time at Grand River, and expecting them to go run a 5K on a hilly course was not the easiest thing, but I'm proud to say that all my guys finished that race. They were led by Alex Hallows, but just all in all, I was proud to see all my guys finish. I was a little bit nervous, first time coaching, lost the guy on the course for a while, then I found him. One of my other guys took a wrong turn, but the thing is, we learned from that first race, and we had much improvement. Throughout the middle of our course of our season, we had a solid chunk of practice where I was proud to say that my 4 guys continually came to practice, putting cross country first over any other extracurricular minus academics. We had a few guys on study hall from time to time. But I was very proud of them. They continually improved. I was able to run them further. I was able to run them harder and faster. I do remember some interval training that we did in the backwoods where I had guys gasping for air, running and doing different ab routines, and needless to say, ab routines we can continue to work on because those were also a struggle. But I was proud, by the end of the year they were able to do the ab routine that they could hardly start at the beginning of the year. But throughout the season we had a lot of fun times and a lot of improvement. Our second race that we ran in was the color run. And for those of you that didn't see the pictures or are new, the color run was just an absolutely amazing 5K that we did. Got color sprayed on us. We had people from outside the cross-country team participate in it. It was just a very, very fun day. Even though the weather wasn't exactly the best, I was able to show guys that cross-country can be fun, that running can be fun, and I thought that was a great opportunity for us. We continued our season with a race at Edgewood. It was our only public school race, and this is sort of where we saw a little bit of a setback in our season. Some guys were really frustrated with their performance. I had some guys walk off the course. People were just frustrated with how they were doing personally, but that's what's the great thing about running, is you can always get back up and try again and go again and continue to succeed. So even though we struggled that meet, I was happy to say that the next practice, all 4 of my guys were there, ready to work hard, ready to go again. And then their work continued to improve and grow because of the results that we saw a week later from the Edgewood meet at the Grape Jamboree. I'm happy to say that we had 6 guys from Grand River running the Grape Jamboree, along with numerous faculty members running. I'll go a little bit more into times when I hand out different awards, but I'm happy to say that Alex Hallows improved tremendously in the Grape Jamboree and actually ran his PR of 22:18. Dimitri, who joined the cross-country team for a couple races at the end of the year, ran in a stellar time of 20 minutes and 22 seconds. And we were followed by John Butler, Lucien Parr, Aman Hassam, and Jack Zhang. So all in all, the Grape Jamboree was a wonderful meet. The end of our schedule sort of had a little bit of a tail off with a couple of races being canceled due to scheduling issues and things like that. But I was happy that we got a final race in, so we were able to prove to everybody that we could run. So the final race we ran was a spider run, or it was called the Spider Run. Guys did well, guys did great, but I was most proud of Jack Zhang during that race because he actually ran his PR where he improved his time from the beginning of the year by a grand total of 5 minutes. 5 minutes to cut off what you ran in 5K from the beginning of the year is absolutely incredible, and it just goes to show the work and effort that he and the rest of the guys put into the season. So, all in all, it was a phenomenal season. I'm very proud of my guys, but here are some numbers that I wanted to just run down really quickly. We ran in 5 races this year, each of them were 5Ks. So that means we ran a total of 15.5 miles of racing. The guys put in 80 to 90 hours, or not hours, sorry, 80 to 90 miles in practice. So throughout the year, if you went to every cross-country practice, and I'm pretty sure most of my guys did, they ran over 100 miles. 100 miles in a month and a half. That is wonderful. If you continue that pace, you're on pace to run 1,000 miles in a year. So I think that's a pretty big accomplishment for my cross-country guys. So now I'm going to hand out the letters of the certificates of participation. Then I will go with the letters, and then finally I'll follow it up with the awards that I deemed pleasing. The first person is not here right now, Ben Eater. He participated in the color run and did an excellent job. This guy did an excellent job. He only participated in the color run, but he had a lot of fun in it, and was one of the biggest smiling faces I saw, Jace back. So this guy personally challenged me at the color run. I was very happy with this challenge. He took off running a little bit fast, but what he forgot was the color run was a 5K. And I eventually caught up to him. But it was a lot of fun running with him when he was doing it, and I think he really enjoyed it. Colin Rinaldi. This next runner participated in the Grape Jamboree. He ran an excellent time of 24:47 and finished 13th for his age group and 105th overall. He was a soccer player, and I think he had a game the day before, but he still woke up and ran it. Wonderful kid, great athlete all around, Lucien Parr. So this next guy decided to do a little basketball conditioning in addition to soccer conditioning. He also participated in the Grape Jamboree, did an excellent job in finishing in just over 22 minutes, 22:20. Happy, he's got long strides like me, so he's an excellent distance runner if he ever wants to pick it up a little bit more. John Butler. Okay, this next runner participated in the Edgewood, and he was actually fulfilling campus service at the time when he ran, but I'm happy to say that I think at the end of the day he actually left with a smile and was a little bit better for the wear and tear. Not DJ yet. This guy had a lot of fun. He definitely struggled at the end. I think he almost collapsed at the end, but he had a lot of fun. He ran an excellent time on a very hard course of 25:50, Zach Riemenschneider. All right. The next guy came to a lot of practices and also participated in the color run. He was an excellent athlete, had a lot of fun, and was quite the, he was the guy that I like to challenge a little bit on the course. Had a lot of fun at the color run, and very enthusiastic little young man, Sean Mohan. This next one was also fulfilling campus service at the Edgewood meet. He actually was a very fast runner. I was very impressed with his time. I'm happy to have him for a second season now in basketball. I'm looking forward to seeing his potential on the court, but I was happy to see his potential on the field, or turf as I'd like to call it in cross country. DJ Lewis ran an excellent time of 23 minutes. This year in cross country, I'm happy to present 4 lettering athletes for the first time. So you guys are going to get a nice Grand River logo. You're going to be able to get a letterman's jacket, put it on there. This is something that you should all be very proud of. I know I still have mine from high school. You can put your pins in your bars and your different sectional and different conference championships. So be very proud of these letters. And even if you don't get a jacket, know that you can put this up in your room. It is a huge, huge, huge accomplishment, like Mr. Sharping was saying. The first guy, Taha Omar. So, Taha. Taha. Taha, I'm going to say this very bluntly. You were a challenge at times. A good challenge. A very, very good challenge. I was happy to accept the challenge. Taha was not the fastest runner, but what I'm happy to say is Taha finished every single race he started. And that in itself is an accomplishment. Taha participated in 3 races and went to numerous practices, almost every practice except for a couple. He participated in the Pursuit of the Pride and the Edgewood High School meet and also the color run. Taha's personal record or fastest time that he ran in was 42:38, which was an improvement from his previous races. So I'm very proud of Taha. I look forward to seeing you here next year and improving on your time. Okay? My next racer, Aman Kassam. Armand was one of those athletes that was there every single practice, working hard every single day. I knew that I could always count on him. There were days where he struggled because he had gym class or it just wasn't his day. And Armand knew that, but he was still there running. He finished every practice like he started every practice, running hard. And that is something I'm very, very proud of Armand for doing this year. Armand participated in every race he participated in every race, excuse me. He participated in every race, so he participated in the Pursuit of the Pride, Edgewood, Running for the Grapes, the Color Run, and also the Spider Run. Armand improved tremendously throughout the year. His first race he ran in almost 31 minutes and got it down to 38 minutes by the end of the year. His fastest time was, what? Oh, sorry, 28, my bad. 28. His fastest time was 27:50. Congratulations, Armand. Jack Zhang. And as you see, Jack is still providing laps. I could always count on Jack. Okay. I knew if I was ever having a bad day, I could always count on Jack giving me that smile and that laughter that I needed. Jack was at every practice regardless of weather conditions, regardless of how he was feeling or what he was up to. Jack usually brought his cell phone along the way, and if there was ever any downtime, he was always playing video games. So it was running or video games. So he was always active during practice, which I'm very proud of. Jack, thank you for the laughters, thank you for the fun that you had. It was a privilege coaching you. Jack participated in 4 meets. He participated in the Pursuit of the Pride, He had an injury throughout the middle of the year, so he couldn't go to the Edgewood meet, but he also participated in the Color Run, the Grape Jamboree, and the Spider Run. Jack improved from just under 32 minutes to finishing with a season low and personal record of 27:22, which is about 5 minutes cut off his time. Jack, congratulations. The final runner, Alex Hallows. Alex had his ups and downs throughout the year. Alex was always my fastest runner in practice. It was always fun running with him because I always knew I could push him just a little bit harder, and he always accepted the challenge. There were certain days though where he just wasn't feeling it or just wasn't going his way, and he knew that. But what I was always proud of him was the next day he was willing to give it all, his all, sorry. Alex actually walked off the course of one of our races. It was probably the low point of the season for me and for him. But what I'm happy to say is he was that guy that was there the next day at practice, ready to work hard. He realized that he had made the mistake and was asking the very next day, when is the next race? When is the next race? I want to improve. I want to improve. That is what I'm most proud about for Alex. Alex started the year with a time of 25 minutes and finished with a personal record at the Grape Jamboree of 22:18. Congratulations, Alex. The first award that I'd like to nominate or present is the Eagle Award, or the Coaches Award as it's sometimes called. This goes to a participant who was a leader, who was always trying to encourage other teammates, encouraging guys to get to practice, encouraging new guys to participate in practice, get to the different races, whether it was the Color Run or different things like that. I'm very excited that this individual got into his #1 choice school because that was always a topic of conversation during the races. Congratulations, Armai Kasami. So, the next award goes to the most improved. The most improved in cross country is a pretty easy award to give for me. It's the person that improved their time the most. This individual improved dramatically with cutting 5 minutes off their time. I think the 5 minutes were the best because he didn't get lost in the race and he just finished it and didn't stop and play video games along the way. So, congratulations, Jack James. The MVP in cross country goes to the runner that runs it the fastest. But in this case, the MVP also goes to the one that was also pushing himself the hardest. This runner would always ask me to push him a little bit harder, so I'd run him a little bit harder. This runner would always want to go that extra mile and say, oh, you're only going to push us 3 miles today? Come on, we can do 4. So, congratulations to the MVP of the cross country team, Alex Hallows. So that wraps up the cross country season. Thank you guys for a wonderful season. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to coaching you next year.
Just really quickly wanted to comment, Jay, you're not allowed to laugh at Jack because that was exactly how you behaved last year during the basketball awards ceremony. Just saying. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Next, as I mentioned, an amazingly successful season. A big tie for first in the conference, the golf team and Coach Kroll.
The first thing I'd like to do is obviously thank Mr. Sharping for giving me the opportunity to coach the golf team. It's something I wanted to do from when I played golf in high school. It was the best experience I had, so I wanted to do that when I started teaching. The sports writer Rick Riley said that golf is a good walk spoiled. And if you never played golf before, it's the most frustrating game you could possibly play. When you learn how to play golf, if you have an instructor or someone who teaches you, they tell you should visualize your shot. So say you're 150 yards away, you look at the green and the pin and you think, okay, here's my club, 150 yards, I can see the ball flying and land on the green. And you take your shot and you shank it in the woods. It's not exactly what you wanted to do, and that's where the frustrating part comes into play. But a good golfer is able to adapt and still score the ball from there. And that's what our golf team was able to do this year. Even when they had frustrating holes, they were able to shoot well enough to be at 8-2 and tie for first in our conference. And if you've never played golf before and you don't know that frustrating feeling, which all sports have, but I think golf is at the highest level, I usually tell people this story, and I told our golf team it. In 1972, my dad was 18 years old. He just graduated from high school, and he started working at his dad's car mechanic shop in Asheville, Ohio. He was golfing in the fall at Village Green Golf Course, like 25 minutes away in North Kingsville. He told me, he doesn't remember many of the shots that happened, but he said it was the most frustrating round he ever had. He came to one of the holes that had water, hit his ball in the water a few times, grabbed his clubs, threw them in the water, and never played again until in his 40s when my brother and I started to play the game. So that's how frustrating golf can be. It drove him to throw his clubs, which he purchased, into the water. High school golf is a little different than that because it's not just played on the course, and against yourself. You have someone you're playing against. So as long as you beat the guy you're playing against, then theoretically your team could win. If the team shoots 300 and your team shoots 299, you still win. And that's what our team was able to do. Just about every match, one of our guys would come in to the clubhouse and say, Coach, you know, I didn't shoot that well, but I still beat the guy I was playing against. And that's how we were able to win. There were times when we played fantastic and beat teams by 20, and there were times when we didn't play that well and squeaked out a win by 2 strokes. So, as we said, the Grand River golf team finished 8-2, one of the best records we ever had, and we had a 5-game winning streak in the middle of the season. I came into the season really with no expectations because I didn't know who was going to be on the golf team. I knew I'd have 2 returners, and I met Roman in the summer. I knew he'd be on the team, so that's 3. But you need 4 to have a team. We were able to pull out 8 golfers, so I could have 5 to 6 at any moment that I needed them, and to gain that experience, to get better as we played. The average for the season, we shot a 188 as a team for an average. That's 46.5 strokes per golfer, which isn't incredible, but it makes the other team have to beat you. They have to shoot lower than that. It's a pretty good score, and most of the teams we played against couldn't keep up with our 188 average. The worst part of the season probably was losing to the school I graduated from twice. The first match we played, we lost. Then we had our string of 5 straight victories. We were, confidence was high. We played them again. Our guys really wanted to win, and we lost by 3 strokes. Had another win streak. Last match of the season, you could see the want in the guys to beat this team. And they were able to beat them by 17 strokes. So they beat us by 5, they beat us by 3 in the last match of the season. We were able to beat them by 17. So we kind of flipped it on them and won the season series because of how many strokes we beat them by. I'm very proud of all of our golfers for the way they represented not only themselves on the course, but the school. All the teachers and faculty would have been proud of the way they acted. I'm very proud of the fact that we had 3 seniors, but also next year we have the ability to have a full golf team again with the guys that we did have. So with that being said, as a quick roundup of our season, since I talk about every match, during the school year, I would like to give out first our certificates of participation. Two of them are not here today. So the first golfer I'm going to call up, and I'm going to call everyone up. Certificates, letter winners, talk about them, and at the end you can give them all a round of applause as a team. So first is going to be Mitch Shota. Mitch played in 2 golf matches, and if you were to watch Mitch play golf, it's the one word that comes to mind that sometimes sports announcers use to describe athletes is workmanlike. He didn't do anything spectacular, didn't do anything awful. He would hit the ball 150 yards down the hole, 150 yards every time, basically straight, maybe a little bit to the right, and he would just go until he finally got the ball in the hole. And that's how Mitch played every single hole, and that's why he shot, his average was around a 57 for this year, and he was able to score for us in one of those matches. The next golfer would be John Cave, Mitch hitter. John Cave has never played golf before. So he came into the season never having stepped on a golf course before, and it's probably the hardest game to pick up at any moment in your life, whether you were 7, 16, or when you're 25. And he came to every single practice. He even came to matches that he wasn't going to play in and rode in the car with me and watched our guys play. So he was dedicated, and that dedication showed during the season as he got better and better as the season went on. There were times when he was frustrated, but again, golf is the most frustrating game that we could play. And by the end of the season, in our last match, he got to play against St. John Paul, and he played and beat his 2 playing partners, and he shot a 62. I don't have an average for him, but I would probably say if he were to play 9 holes right now, his average would probably be right around 62. So if John continues to play this summer, he will get better, and he will probably be a letter winner for us next year. So these are 2 of our guys that were able to play along with Connor Gallagher and Tony Carlucci, who added to our roster but did not letter. So for our letter winners, we have 2 first-year letter winners. The first is Roman Simpson. Roman is the only freshman we have on the team. Through the middle of the season, he started to develop a heavy slice in his ball, and I noticed it was in his grip. So in the middle of the season, we totally had to revamp his grip, and by the end, his last 2 matches, he shot a 46 and a 49, which helped us beat St. John by those 17 strokes. And if Roman continues to play in the summer and he comes back in the fall, his average should drop a few strokes. His average for the year was a 52.4, which is great for your freshman year. So if he does commit himself, he should be able to drop that average into the 40s and be one of the impact players for us next year. The next first-year letter winner is postgrad Carl Bailey. Carl was our one man for the entire season. He averaged a 42, and his low round was a 40 that he shot in the second and third matches. He set a goal for himself to want to shoot, have an average of in the 30s, but that is very difficult to do. Breaking that 40 barrier on a consistent basis to average in the 30s is very, very difficult. So a 42 average is very good, and shooting the 40s twice is great. He has a beautiful swing. It complements every shot he needs. If he commits himself, and I tell him this just about every day, that he could play golf in college if he wanted to in the right school, he says no, but he needs that confidence because he can, because he got the swing to do it.
You do it, Carl.
Our next letter winner, this is his second year letter, Austin Apt. Austin has high expectations of himself. And those high expectations, at times, he feels like he let himself down. He would come in with the score of a 44 and be disappointed when a 44 is a very, very commendable and good score. He helped us win a lot of matches this year. His low round was actually the low round for the team. He shot a 39. And after that 39, that's when his confidence really rose, and he wanted do that again and again, but again, breaking that 40 barrier is very difficult. And I watched most of his holes in that match, and I saw him sink 3 putts outside of 12 feet. So he had his putting going. If you have your putting going, then it makes scoring much easier. But if you're not sinking those 15-foot putts, then that 39 turns into that 44 pretty quickly. His average was a 44.2 on the year, and if he were to be able to control his driver, he probably would have shaved a few strokes off that average. I try to tell him every match, if you're not hitting your driver off the tee, just put it in the bag, control the ball off the tee, get it in the fairway. So here's your 2013 Red River Academy golf team. We have actually had a 4-year letter winner, but Billy Fanning is a dentist and college visit, so he wasn't here. So he'll get his 4-year letter award when he comes back. But the first one is going to be our most improved player. He gained confidence throughout the whole year in his game. If at times a little too high, like the bet that he was going to shoot 28 and I would buy his trip to Europe. But I like the confidence. I like that he wanted to do that well. He did shoot around in the 30s again, as I saw him sink multiple putts over 12 feet. He cut multiple strokes from his average from last year, putting himself into the mid-40s, and I know he wants to go even lower because his goal is to play in college, which is an admirable goal, but you need to work to get that good. So the most improved player for this year is Austin Epp. Our MVP, the first day of practice, like I said, I came in with no expectations because I didn't know who was going to be on the team. And everyone got on the van, and our first practice was going to be just a round of balls at the driving range. Everyone got their bucket, and I started watching people hit balls. And the first ball I saw Carl hit. I thought, okay, we have our one man. And I didn't really have to tell him anything because his swing is much better than mine, and I had really no advice for him, except for maybe some playing tips or here or there on shot selection. He did not give up the #1 spot the entire season. He only lost to his playing partner twice, which is the 2 times he lost. Thanks, Carl. He did a 42. He did not get his goal, but again, if he works at it, and I hope he commits himself to summer because the college he goes to, I really think he can play in college. So our MVP for 2013 this year is Carl Bailey. And so anyone next year who is coming back, I know John Richardson sitting back there was able to come to one practice when he first got here, and he played behind us when we played St. John, and he shot a 41. So when he comes back next year, we're going to have our one man once again. And with Roman and anyone else who wants to come out and try to play golf, it's a fun time. It's frustrating, but it's definitely, I think, the best sport you can play. Thank you.
Pedro, do they have golf in Brazil? I see you talking about you wanting to be the one man back there. Do they have golf in Brazil?
Not really.
All right, just checking. To give you an idea of the frustration of golf, Coach Hartz is a fantastic golf player, and I've watched him break clubs in the middle of his round. So golf is very, very frustrating, but for whatever reason, it's an amazing time. You go out there and enjoy the weather. You enjoy the walk. Like I said, it's one of the most frustrating walks.
I know how much you all want to go back and start your homework at study hall, so I'll try and keep this very short and sweet. Over the past couple days, I was trying to figure out what to talk about here, and I was trying to look for a common theme in the season. And one word that kept popping into my mind was perseverance. I'm sure it wasn't easy for those guys who played soccer for a number of years to have 2 first-year coaches that frankly didn't really know what we were doing at the beginning of the season. For that same group, I'm sure it wasn't easy to have very inexperienced teammates that they had to rely on. And for those inexperienced teammates, I'm pretty sure that it was tough for them to really get up to speed and become valuable members of the team. But through it all, I feel like we really stuck together, and by the end of the season, we were a cohesive group. We really developed a trust in each other, trust in our teammates, and hopefully trust in the coaches. that really propelled us to a level of success late in the season. The perseverance displayed by the team was definitely on display halfway through the season. We were at 1-5, which is not a very good record for those of you guys who played sports. We were 1-5 halfway through the season, following a pretty tough defeat to Lakeside High School. Now, most high school soccer teams were just cashing in at that point. They would tank the rest of the season, kind of give up, say, hey, look, we tried, we did our best, but it just wasn't our year. But instead of doing that, our very next game, we came out and played a really hard-fought game against Cornerstone Christian, and earned a 1-1 draw. The momentum from that game propelled us to win our 4 next games in a row. So we were at 5-1 going into the Lake Effect Conference playoff game against Elyria Baptist. Now, Elyria was a team that we lost to earlier in the season. In a pretty hard-fought game, we lost them 2-0. So everyone was really nervous going into the playoff game. We knew we had a shot to beat them, but we knew we'd have to play very well. And those suspicions were confirmed because halfway through the second half, Elyria had put up a 4-0 lead on us. Again, we could have just cashed in the rest of the game, said, you know, we did our best today, but it just wasn't our day, and gone home with a 4 or 5 goal loss. But I was extremely proud of the guys because everybody picked themselves up once we were down 4-0, which is, for those of you that aren't soccer fans or haven't played soccer before, it's virtually an insurmountable lead to come back from, especially with that little amount of time left in the game. But we were able to pick ourselves up and play our best soccer of the season. We scored 3 goals in about 15 minutes to claw our way back to 4-3. Unfortunately, the clock ran out on our comeback bid, and we left the field with a loss. But as I told the guys after the game, the lessons that we learned through organized athletics are far more important than any individual results. We obviously came together over the course of the season. We went from being a 1-5 very dysfunctional group to a team that pushed Elyria Baptist and in the league semifinal game and almost came back from an insurmountable deficit. So I was extremely proud to see what we accomplished this season once we came together and got a positive attitude. And I know I speak for Coach Escamilla when I say that we couldn't have asked for a tougher and a better group to work with in our first year coaching. So give the soccer guys a round of applause. Now we had a pretty small roster this year as far as soccer teams go. Typically you want lots of depth. It's a grueling sport, you need lots of subs. And we had 17 total guys on the roster, 11 of which are playing at any given time in the game. So because of that reason, everybody got significant playing time this year that was on the roster, and everyone will be earning a letter. But before we give those letters out, I just want to take a few moments to thank some people who were vital to our season this year. First of all, I'd like to thank the administration for giving Coach Escamilla and myself a chance to play, or excuse me, a chance to coach in our first year here. Specifically, Mr. Vines and Mr. Sharping. You were also very supportive of us the entire season, and we're both grateful for that. Secondly, I'd personally like to thank Coach Escamilla for all the tireless work that he put in. He was always working hard at practice and encouraging the guys in the game, and always tried to keep things very lighthearted. So that was great to have him right alongside me the whole season. In addition to Coach Escamilla, I'd like to sort of thank our third coach for part of the season, Mr. Sullivan. He helped us out driving to lots of away games, and it was also nice to have his knowledge. He was also a former high school soccer player, so it was great to have his knowledge at the games that he did attend, and we were grateful to have his help. I'd also like to thank Dean Thomas and Mr. Kroll for helping us out and driving to away games, and Ms. Hedrick for always making sure that we had food. Also the maintenance staff for always making sure that the fields were ready, and specifically Grandma for making sure our uniforms were washed, cleaned, and folded for every game. And finally, I'd like to thank all the students, faculty, staff, parents, siblings that came out to support us at our home games. I know it meant a lot to me, and I'm sure it meant a lot to the guys on the field, seeing all the support that we got every time we played here at GRA. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. Without further ado, I would like to announce the varsity letter winners. Again, these were guys that contributed significant playing time on the varsity level. All these players are thoroughly deserving of this award, and we have several here that have won first-year awards, a couple that have won second-year awards, and one that has won his third-year award for lettering in soccer 3 times. So I'll just announce these names. We'll have those guys come up to the stage, and we'll gather up here and have a photo at the end. So the first varsity letter winner winning a first-year award is Liam Egan. The next award goes to Dylan Porter. The third award goes to Mike Lamandola. Take your time, Mike. Next we have Teddy Lewis. Up next we have a late addition to our roster this year, and that's Dmitry Shebakov. Up next we have John Butler. And another player who's in his first year playing soccer, Will Brownlee. Another first year winner is Lucien Parr. Next we have Colin Rinaldi. The next award goes to probably our most spirited member of the team this year, Andrew Abdulmessi. And the last first year award that we have is for Eli Hunt. Up next, we have 5 student athletes who have won a varsity letter for their second year as a part of the soccer program. The first second year award will go to Pedro Fernandez. While he's getting that, we'll announce the second one. The next award goes to Leo Goldman. Up next, we have Ben Triolzi. This player is actually a homeschool student that played with us this season, so some of you might not recognize him. He's a great kid, great member of our team this year, and I couldn't have been happier to have him play with us this year. And that player is Morgan Franz. our last varsity letter award goes to a member of the team who has played soccer here for 3 years, and that member is Eric Laveau. I also forgot one more. I forgot DJ Lewis. How could I forget? Second year. Right, get in here.
Make like 2 rows.
Tell us where you want us.
Short Leo, come on.
Leo, get up there. Come on. Got it. You guys go ahead and have a seat. So the next awards that we're going to give out are the All-Conference Awards. So these awards are nominated and voted on by the coaches in the Lake Effect Conference. This year I'm proud to announce that we had 2 second-team All-Conference members and 2 first-team All-Conference members. The second-team All-Conference members are Liam Egan and Pedro Fernandez. Up here? All right. Sorry, we don't have the certificates up here. Sorry, Pedro. Have to get you later. I know the first team awards are up here because I can see them right there. There are 2 first team All Lake Effect Conference players were Eric Laveau and Mike Lamandola. Okay, so we have 6 more awards. These awards are all team awards. The first 2 that I'm going to give out are the Coaches Awards, or the Eagle Awards, as they're also called. I typically don't like to give out co-awards. That's just, I've never believed in giving out co-awards. But I'll make an exception to that rule for these 2 players. I was trying to think about who I should nominate, or who I should give the Coaches Awards to. And 2 guys really stuck out in my mind, and I really had a hard time separating them. So I think they're both equally deserving of this award, and I'd like to award both of them with the Eagle Award. The first recipient is a returning player. He started playing soccer last year at GRA and served primarily as the backup goalie on last year's team. Unfortunately, this year we didn't have the same depth that last year's team had. And this player was forced to play positions that he hadn't previously played and wasn't necessarily that comfortable with. Through it all, though, he kept a positive attitude and put forth 110% effort while he was on the field, even though he'll tell you himself that he's not the most talented soccer player. Additionally, he attended every practice since he joined the team on the second day of school and put forth great effort there as well. This player did virtually everything that we asked of him, and as a coach, he was a pleasure to have on the team at all times. This player is Leo Goldman. So the second recipient of the Coaches Award is a first-year player. He arrived on the first day of our preseason camp and had a phenomenal attitude from day 1. This player displayed a quiet, constant leadership style over the course of the season and was always someone that others looked to as an example of a model GRA athlete. He always did what he was asked of him to the best of his ability, and he will be sorely missed next fall. This athlete is Lucien Parr. next award that will be given out is for the most improved player. This award, as you can probably tell, goes to the player who has improved the most over the course of the season. The recipient of this year's Most Improved Award is someone who frankly couldn't kick a soccer ball more than 10 feet on the first day of practice. He since then has come a long way, and shortly into the season started blossoming and getting much better and more confident each day. By the end of the season, he was one of our best defenders and even put in a few goals along the way to help us out. It was great to see his improvements throughout the season, although he still has a long way to go on the basketball court before he can beat me. This year's Most Improved Player is Teddy Lewis. So the next award we're going to award is for the most important defensive player. When I think about the player receiving this award, the first word that comes to my mind is consistency. He had perfect attendance at practice, he always brought a good attitude, and he was a stable force in the back for us all season long. As a defender, there's not much more you can ask for than that. He even saved us from being scored on once or twice with some amazing deflections that sent the ball just wide of the post. This year's most outstanding defensive player is Liam Egan. So we have two more awards to give out. The next one is for the most outstanding offensive player. Like I said, he was always involved and was active all over the field, be it out wide on breakaways or through build-up play in the middle. And he was just an outstanding player all season long, and we look forward to having him back here next year. That player is Michael Amendola. And last but not least, we have the MVP award. From the moment he stepped on campus, you could see that this player was someone that others on the team looked up to. He was a key member of last year's team and had more experience playing the game, arguably, than anyone else on our roster this year. In addition, our turnaround in the middle of the season was seen almost in his attitude. He had a huge attitude change in the middle of the season, and it really propelled us with some good mojo and good momentum later in the season. Though he was a leader for us, he's also a very talented player, and he made his presence felt throughout the game at various places on the field. I would like to announce that our team MVP this year is Eric Laveau.
There are 2 awards. Was going to be 6 awards, but Mr. Lum took care of 2 of them for me. Today we had the athletic director conference meeting, and we had discussed and we were given awards. And the reason why Liam and Pedro, you didn't get certificates is because the conference commissioner didn't get them printed off. But we'll get you your certificates hopefully by Monday. That's the goal. And then congratulations to Mike and Eric. A lot of the athletic directors have commented about your talents as well. 2 other awards, and I think that actually these awards are I don't want to say more important than the athletic awards that you've received, but certainly in the long-term plans are very deserving. And they're the all-conference academic awards. And to be on the all-conference team, you need a 3.5 or above. And we had 2 winners, and the first one is Eric Laveau. And the second one is John Butler. And if keep that grade point average and that overall percentage while playing a very intensive and dedicated sport, so soccer is very commendable, so congratulations guys. But that basically wraps it up. Before we leave, I would just like, if you won an award, if you got a certificate, or if you received a letter tonight, would you please stand up? All of these gentlemen deserve a round of applause. Thank you. And I want to use that as a plug for winter sports, for wrestling, and for basketball, and soon to be indoor soccer once we get that taken care of. I always forget bowling for whatever reason. And Bells, today at the meeting, I was trying to get more teams or more schools to get a team. It's just no one loves bowling like we do, I guess. But we're gonna keep trying. But please, if there's any doubt of whether you can make the team, or just go to basketball practice, just go to wrestling, go to bowling, and soon enough we'll start indoor soccer as well. But like I said, it doesn't matter what your skill level is. You could be the best in the school, or you could be me. Go to practice, get better, just to be a part of a community, to be a part of a team. It just allows you to be a better person, and when you go on to move into your career, and you're going to realize that you look back and say, man, I wish I would have played basketball. I talk to Mr. Wooding about it every single day. That's my biggest thing. I wish I could play basketball. I talk about it, and if I would have been able to go to Grand River, or even the public schools that I went to, I wish I would have went to basketball practice. But I was fearful of a person like DJ Lewis, who's very, very skilled, and I was very fearful that he would beat me. And now I look and think that there's no way he could beat me. So, someday you'll know when I'm not able to watch. But, and I'm very serious about that. If there's any hesitation, and I think about someone who played basketball last year who's not playing basketball this year, there's no reason for you not to play. Everybody should be out there, and people should be at practice every single day to improve yourself. It's what makes Grand River Grand River. Everybody has the opportunity to succeed. So please see Coach Sullivan, see Coach Pavlovic, see Coach Riddell. Join the wrestling, join the bowling, and join the basketball team. And you'll look back in 20 years or even 13 years and say, man, I wish I would have played basketball. I wish I would have wrestled. We don't push you guys as hard as you may think. And a lot of times you get to hang out with us and see that we're really, really not mean people or horrible people. We have a side of humor. So with that being said, I really appreciate everything that you dedicated your time to the school. And are there any announcements? You guys try to get a clap for the bowling team. Maybe in March. If there are no announcements, in about 10 minutes we'll start study hall. So about 8 o'clock start study hall. So start heading back there. Do not stop for any other. Griffin, what in the world are you doing? Okay, thank you for a great season. Have a wonderful evening. See you in study hall.